Yes, now I'm recording. So basically, today we'll start with like the coding itself. Basically, start by like yesterday we had how to install. I want to believe that everyone was able to install the Jupyter notebook, and now you have Jupyter notebook running locally on your laptop. Now today we would okay. Now today we would try to start coding by itself. So we'll start with Python syntax. Basically, when we say Python syntax, what we are trying to talk about is how do you write Python in such a way that everyone would, like Python would be able to understand it and be able to run your code effectively. So Python has quite a lot of syntax that you might have to come across, but now we'll just keep going through them one after the other. But basically, the easiest of Python syntax that when you become a programmer, the first code you are going to write is you tell Python to print hello world. So this is basically what everyone does. I'm just trying to do, but then we are not going to dwell on it so much. The next thing we are going to talk about is basically Python comments. When you write code, I like it that when you're writing code, whether for submission or whether when you start using Python as a Python developer, I like it that you write comments. It makes it easier for anybody that wants to read your code. Even sometimes you yourself, when you come back and you like, oh, what was I doing here? So the comments would help you. Take for instance now, this first one now, I can say comment. I can write a comment, and whenever you want to write a comment, you put this hash figure, this hash sign. Then what you're telling Python is anything that comes on this line, ignore it. It's just a comment. So it's not going to run it. So now printing, when I say printing hello world. So anybody that comes here would see that, oh, okay, what he's trying to do here is he's trying to print hello world. So now, how do we write a multiple line comment? This is just a single line comment. How do we write a multiple line comment? You can decide to do it this way and write another one, printing, writing my first program. So this is writing my first program, like this is a multi-line. Then another way you can do it is you can have it this way. You have three quotation marks. So anything you write in between this, Python would interpret it as a comment. Do we all understand?
Yes, I do.
Okay, that's nice. Now let's go to okay, right. I will just update this later and file share. So now next thing we want to talk about is talking about Python variable itself. Speaking of variables, when we say variables, basically what we are talking about is we are talking about something like a container. So whenever I say the word variable, we mean something that can change. Do we all remember what variables are? Like right from maybe primary school or secondary school. So variables are things that like it can take on multiple values. So we we let's relate it to our container. We are saying, oh, I have a container that I can put salt there, and you can wake up tomorrow and decide to put sugar there, and you can wake up tomorrow and decide to use it for oil. Do you get it? So basically, that's the a very very good way to understand what Python variables are. Now, what kind of container can we put what kind of stuffs can we put in Python variables? You cannot put Ororo in Python variables. So basically what we are trying to say is what you can put in Python variables, you can put integers. After we can put float. I'm going to talk about all of them, so don't rush. Like we can put strings. So if you don't understand it right now, this is what I mean by integer is integer are basically values that they are whole number. Take for instance now when you write 1, 2, 3, 4. So those are integers. But sometimes you want to like and use integers to represent something like your age, your number of children. You cannot have decimal number of children. You cannot say, oh, I have 4.5 children. People ask you where did you get the half? So do you get so that those are the kind of data that you use integers to represent. Also for floats now, at times you want to record something like your height, you want to record something like your sometimes your age too. You want to record stuff like that, or maybe time. So you can use float. So they are just decimal numbers like 12.5, 13.8, 1.68 your height, and also strings are more of numerical characters. Sorry, text characters. So that's what strings are. And also we have the last one which we call float. Which we call boolean. So though there is a last one that we call complex, but now we are not going to get there. We'll get to look at it later. We'll get to look about like Python data types in details. But I just want us to understand that these are the kind of stuff that we can keep in Python variables. Now, how do you create a variable? I don't know if you are understanding the way I'm just doing it, or I should just get a notebook and share live code, or I'll share that we can just follow. Please, I need response.
I think anyone. I think you should drop the notebook, then people can follow it from there. So I'm just speaking for people who are not talking inside.
Okay, like what I'm saying is there will definitely be a notebook at the end of the class that is well structured that you can understand properly. Now I'm saying like, do you like it? Is it okay the way we are having it more like a live session, or just we have the notebook ahead then share?
This is actually cool.
Yeah, I think the live session is cool.
Now, how
Yeah, this is cool though. But going forward, I think it will be best if you have it way before the class.
oh that you mean I have a notebook that I can share now. I have what kind of network is this? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Okay, that's nice. So basically, how do we create variables in Python? Basically, when you talk about creating variables in Python, creating variable, you don't necessarily have a command to create variable. When we get to other types of containers that we have in Python, you understand what I mean by a particular command for creating it. So basically, what you need to do is the moment you assign a value to it, then you've created a variable. So let's create a variable called my name. So basically, anytime I want to call like I want to call my name, all I have to just do is anytime I want to print out this Abdul Muiz, then all I just have to do is call the variable my name. That means I have assigned Abdul Muiz to the variable called my name. Do you get it? So tomorrow I can decide to change my name. Do you get it? I can reassign it, and all I have to just do is reassign it and say my name. Okay, let's print this first. Print my name. What's wrong? Oh, sorry, creating variable. I have to comment this out, like I was saying earlier. Now, this is Abdul Muiz. Now, say I decide to add my surname because I do not intend to change my name. So I can just reassign it and say my name equals to. So if I print my name now, I see that it has changed. That's why they call it variable because it can change and can take on multiple values. Now, there's something I quickly need to discuss. This is in mathematics, this is an equal sign, but in Python will not relate this as an equal sign. We call it assignment character. This shows that you are assigning my Abdul Muiz to the variable my name. So if if I say if I want to use equal sign, if I use this, it's going to return error for me or it's going to malfunction. And I can also create multiple variables by saying first name. Please pay attention here. And I will say comma last name. Now I'm going to assign multiple values. I'll say my first name is Abdulmaniz. Then I'll say comma my last name. Do you get it? I'll put it Okware. You can see that it works. So when I say last name, if I want to get my last name, it's just going to return my surname alone. And if I want to return my first name, that's multiple. You can go as much as 100 of it. Just say first name, like maybe name of student one, name of student two, up to that 100, instead of creating it one after the other and you assign it. But one thing that is very, very important when you're doing multiple assignments is the number of variables that you have on the right side has to be the number of variables that you have on the left side. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Now, let me say middle name. Next, there is returning error for me. It's telling that not enough values to unpack. Like it's expecting three variables, it's expecting three what values, but it got only two. Now let's do it the other way around. What name can I use? Ibrahim. And you see, too many values to unpack. Expected to, but got more than. See, that's just it. Like you have to make sure that whatever you are putting on the left side is equal to what you are putting on the right side. So moving forward, we can decide to, like I said, we can decide to put an integer to. You can say age, you can say 12, then you can say height. Okay, yeah, age, yes, equals to maybe let's say 1.8 or 1.9, anything. Then so what we can do is we can run this and we can say we want to get the type. We can go further and say we want to get what type of data is our last name. So what you just have to do is use the type function to get it. You just say type last name. So you put your variable, it's going to return it for you. This is telling you that it is a string. Now let's do it for age. Type age. It's going to return an integer for you. And when you use the same thing for height, I'm sorry if some of us already are familiar with the basis. I'm just trying to build everyone from the basis and so that we don't get to have problem later in future when we get to that advanced part. So it's telling you that it float. Now let's assign another one as money. equals to true. Let's assume I have money. So now if you want to check the type for has money now, it's going to tell you that it is a Boolean value. So do you get it? That's how to use type. Now, moving forward, I can change the type that we are working with. We can start to change the type that, oh, that I don't want my, what is it called? I don't want my height to be in form of float. I can decide to make it an integer. So all I have to do is just do, all I have to do is just this. I'll just come here. Let me copy this. Sorry, this. I'll just say then paste. Then, sorry, let me accept someone. Oh, am I going too fast? Oh, am I going too fast? Please, I need response.
Kind of for people like me. Sorry.
Ah, okay.
Because from between the height and the age, I just went down like very fast. So I don't know if you can come again. Sorry.
Okay. Basically, what I'm trying to do here is we've created our variables and we understand, like, we got how to create variables. Now, what we are trying to do is we want to check what kind of data is our variable housing. Now, what we did here is we passed my last name into the type. Like, type is more of a keyword in Python. We'll get to talk about keywords in Python. Type is more of like a keyword in Python that, oh, it's when you call on type, it performs a specific function. Take for instance now when you tell somebody to come, they know what to do, that they should come over to wherever you are. You get it? So basically that's what type 2 does. Now when you call on type to check, okay, what kind of variable is last name, so it's going to tell you that what is last name is housing what a string. Just the same way that when you want to check, when you have your, what is it called, a white bottle filled with one filled with salt and the other filled with sugar. The same way you put your hand to just test, oh, this is salt, this is sugar. So basically that's what we are trying to do, because want to assume that we don't know the kind of data type that is in our last name. So you want to check, oh, it is a string. That's basically what type does. So type does the same thing as just putting your hand inside with sugar and putting it on your tongue to test it. So and we check for age too. We check for height, and now we assign that whether he has money or not. We decide to assign it as true. So now if we check the type of ask money, it's going to tell us that, oh, this is a true or false thing, that it is a bull. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say now.
I understood.
Now I'm saying
Understood.
now
Thank
that we can change this type. Now I decide to, okay, let me do something. Let me say 0.0. Yeah. So if I do this now you see that it's telling me float. So I'm now wondering that what kind of person represents their age as float? Or let me create yes, what kind of person represents their age as float? I just decide to convert it to string and to, what is it called, back to integer back. So what I just have to do is do int age. So now what we need to do is just assign it back to age, so that anytime we call it, it's also a variable. So if I say type age now, it's going to tell us int. So we've successfully changed it back to integer. Now, if you want to change this one to the height, we want to just make it a string. So all you have to do is do height equals to str height. So if you say type height now, can you see that it's telling us that it's a string? Why do you need to understand this? There are sometimes that you need to you get what the kind of data or the kind of file you have actually comes in form of a text, but you need to perform calculation on it. Now, let me say, let me show you something. Let me say two times like twice of height. Let me say equals to two times. So don't worry if you don't get this part. So let me paste this. Can you see what I'm getting? Can you see the output we are getting?
Yes.
Yes.
Basically, what he's trying to do is returning 1.8, then another 1.8. But what you want to do is you want to get 1.8 times 2, right? Now, that's now we would want to wonder that what's wrong, that why is he returning it this way? What you just to do is you check the type. Oh, you'll be like, oh, type. Okay, it's a string. Then you convert it back to integer. And now when you have it, now let's convert it back to integer. Height equals to float rather. Float height. Sorry. This kind of person mute. So now if I do this again, I decide to do this, I see that now we are getting the right output. That's just like a bug that we've solved. I hope everyone is getting it up to where we are, please.
As for me, I didn't get up to this level
Please speak up. Where is it that you did not get
because
it?
I just joined. I met you at the float type and boolean type.
Oh,
So that's the why I didn't get it from the beginning.
you can stay back.
But maybe by the time of the cap, I will try to get it.
Yes, I'll try to recap later, maybe after some minutes. But for now, let's just go so that we don't. And one thing about Python is another thing I want to talk about is the case sensitivity of Python. Now, look at this name and name. To human, you say it's the same, right? Hello.
Hi.
Yes, yes.
Yes, to human, we would say it's the same. Now, let me do this. You know, we have height. Now, let me do this. Tell him that height is not defined. But in reality, we actually defined height. But because we used capital H here and we use small h, so that means that the height that we have here is not the same thing as the height that we have here. Let me show you another example. And see, it's telling me that it's false. That I'm asking basically what I'm doing here is I'm asking that if this name here is the same thing as the name here. So it's telling me false. Now let's do this. Let's replace this N with capital N. And see that now is true. So wherever it is, you have to be very, very careful of this. Wherever it is that you are using a variable name, ensure that what you are calling is the same thing as what you actually assigned. Python would not read name with a capital N the same way it's going to read name with a small n, or wherever the capitalized letter is. So that's one of the characteristics of Python, that it is case sensitive. Now, how do we name variables? How do we name variables? There are basically more like six ways that are acceptable that Python will not return error for you. Or maybe let's say four. So now the first one is, if a variable name must start with a letter or an underscore character. So like, let's call them four principles. Let me just copy them and put them here. So sorry, a variable must start with a letter or an underscore. So, this is what underscore looks like. So the second one is that a variable cannot start with number. It cannot start a variable with number. And a variable name can only contain alphanumerical characters and underscore. What do we mean by alphanumerical? So what we mean by alphanumerical is, it can only be either alphabet or no, with alphabet with numbers. The only character acceptable is an underscore. And also variable names are case sensitive. Now, let's take examples from the class. Give me examples of, with all these rules that we've set, give me examples of variable names that you might want to use. I'm waiting.
Baby.
What did you say?
I said baby.
What did you say?
I said baby.
Baby. Did you say David or baby?
Baby, baby, baby.
This, I want people to respond.
Underscore underscore A1 A1.
Underscore AY,
Small,
AY,
small,
AY, small.
A1 A1. A1
A1,
A1.
A1, okay, A1,
small,
A1. Small.
small underscore biro. Small
Underscore what?
underscore underscore biro. Small biro.
Small barrel. Okay, now, yeah, there is something I was supposed to mention, but now I wrote it under the note that when you are writing variable names, it has to be case sensitive. Sorry, it has to be mnemonic. What we mean is, it has to be something that meaningful. Take for instance now, if you come here, you see that okay, I said twice of height. It helps that whoever is reading your code, or whoever is working further on your code, or whoever is accessing your code, would understand what you actually want to write here. When I wrote twice of height and I said two times height, so everybody would be able to understand that okay, it is twice of, like, I want to get two times of the height of the person. I can just write TH, then I will expect the person to start decoding what is TH. Then I'll come to the other side and say two times H. Do you get it? So the person will now start wondering what is two times H. So what one thing you want to do is when you're naming your variable, make sure that it is something mnemonic that everyone can understand. Like, okay, my name, his name, student's name, my variable, age, amount of money in the account. Like, try to go that far. Now, another thing we want to talk about is what are the acceptable ways of naming, like acceptable forms of naming Python variables or of naming in Python generally. By the way, this is just more like a an acceptable way, like I said. It's not as if you don't write it that way, Python would not understand it. I guess my screen has gone.
I
Can
guess
you
I
see
guess
my screen?
we cannot hear you for a while now. We couldn't hear all you said if you've been talking.
Oh. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, we want to talk about what are the ways of what are the kind of ways that you can name a Python variable that makes it interesting for people to read. We have quite about three of them. The first one is the camel case. That is, when we say camel case, what we are trying to say is every word except the first word starts with capital letter. For instance, if I want to do that, I'll just say my name. This is an example of camel case. My age. Do we understand? Then we have Pascal.
Yeah.
Pascal case. What Pascal is just more like camel case, but the first word is capitalized. So Pascal is like my name. Sorry, my name. Yes, age. So that's Pascal. And the third one is snake case. Can you guess what snake case would be like? So this snake case, my name and my age. So these are the three acceptable ways by Python community or community of Python developers to write it. So whenever they are given an assignment, please ensure that you write it this way. Please ensure that you write it this way. So do you understand everything I've said so far? Is there any question? Let me take question.
Can like when you're talking about the split case, you went off. Maybe at my end here, I couldn't hear you. The snake case, is it the first word underscore and the second word, or is it underscore anywhere?
No. Is first word underscore second word underscore third word underscore fourth word.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any question so far from the beginning of the class before we move into the next one?
Sir, please come again on the camel case.
Oh, camel cases. The every other word aside the first word starts with a capital letter, just like my name. Like, okay, let me write another example that has more than two. I can say my father. Sorry, I'm not going to put apostrophe because it's going to return error. So I'm just going to say my father name. So it's going to be like that. So if you have another word that you want to put at the back, it's going to keep going like that. So that word will start with like with a capital letter also. Is there any other question? Maybe not about this alone, maybe anything we've spoken about so far. Because but I want to assume that we all got everything I've mentioned so far. What's wrong with my network? Shit. Hello.
I
So there's no question. We should move on.
Let's move on.
Okay. The next thing we should talk about is Python operators. So speaking of operators, what do we use operators to do? I'm expecting answer.
Actually, I think that should be arithmetic operation, probably.
Exactly. We use Python. We use operators for operations. So just like that. So this is not one class or one lecture, whatever that you want to start looking for. What is understanding that is really really important here. We use operators for operations, and basically we have about seven of them. About seven operators. We have arithmetic operator. I want to believe everyone installed the Jupyter notebook. Assignment operator.
Yeah, I did. I've been studying.
Another one we have is comparison operator. Um, okay, comparison. The next one is the logical, and this is where the cool stuff start to happen. Identity, membership operator. We have membership. And we also have bitwise. Yeah, seven. Now we take them one after the other. This arithmetic operator. I'm very very sure that we are familiar with this. This is plus. It means that addition, right? This is subtraction. When you want to multiply, you use asterisk. When you want to divide, there's I don't think you've ever come across something like division, like what is it called then? Dot dot. So when you want to divide, you use this. I think forward slash here. It's forward slash they call it, or maybe it's backward. Please don't mind my but the one that goes this way is it. Now, these are the four basic ones, right? Take for instance now, I want to get I want to get the remainder. That if I say 7/2, that's going to give us what? 3.5, right? So if I want to now make it return only the remainder, Python has an operator that we can use, which is this percentage sign. So basically, when I do this, it's going to return the floor division for me, and also sorry, it's going to return the remainder for me. Then also if you want to do some power, if you want to do some power operations, say you want to raise to power, so you just use double asterisk. And also if you want to do floor division, that you just want 7/2, you want it to return only the whole number, you use double of this forward slash. Now let's take example for each and every one of them. So we can say 2 plus 3, Python return 5. I can say 2 minus 3 is going to return -1 for us. I can say 2 asterisk 3 is going to return 6. I can say 2 over 3, 0.66. I can say 2, which was the next one? Modulus. Yeah, 3. What do you think he's going to return? Yeah, 2. Exactly.
Oh, one. Okay.
So he's going to return.
6.
Then the last one is I can say 2. Start with 3. What would this return? What does this mean? This means,
8.
can the person mute? Uh,
That would be 8.
let's see if you are correct. Yeah. So the last one is 2 floor 3. Why is it returning 0? Why is it returning?
Returning 0 because it is returning 0 because 3 cannot divide 2 at all. So
Yeah, because that's the whole number. It's going to be okay 0. It's just returning the 0 here for us. Exactly. So that's it about arithmetic operators. Now let's go to assignment operators. There are quite a lot of them. There are quite a lot of them, but let's start. So the first one is this one, which is the equal sign, right? So let's take an example. We can say x equals 3. X equals 3. So if we say x now, we've assigned that. Then we can do, okay, now let's do this. This is another assignment operator. What do you think this means? Can somebody interpret this for me? Okay, let me write an example. When I say x
it says
plus plus equals 3. Now, who can interpret this?
I think that's plus 1.
So, what am I going to get?
we are going to get 6.
I'm going to get 3.
Six.
I think you're going to get probably 4.
Probably 4. I'm liking this. Any other opinion?
6.
6? Okay. Vowler. Now, let's print X out. So, let me just tell you to print directly from here. Oh, it's telling me that invalid syntax. What's wrong? Why don't you tell me what's wrong?
Okay. I think the X is not defined, and probably
Fine, now we
the
have X up
what's
here.
it called should be
We have X up here. And if I
okay.
it works, why do you think he's returning 9?
Wow.
Why do you think it's
Oh,
returning 9?
wow.
Why
I'm
do
not
you
sure.
think we're actually what happened is I already assigned one thing about Jupyter Notebook is if I run this again, say now it's returning 12. That means it's going to assign another 3. Now let me explain what this means. It means that x equals to another x plus 3. So this is what it means. So it's going to keep reading it as this. So basically what is going to do is it's going to take what's the value of x. Oh, 3. Then what it's going to do is add 3 to it, then assign it back to x. That means we've incremented the value of x by 3. So if you run it again to still look like, oh, the current x that I have in my memory is 3, is 6. So it's going to add another 3 to it. That makes 9. So it's going to keep doing it as long as you run it. So that's why we have it that way. Do you get it or I should explain again?
I get it.
Okay, I'm glad.
Yeah, well understood, sir.
Okay. So thank you all for. Okay, I'm going to explain again now. I said here we assigned 3 to x. Now I'm saying this one means that x equals to x plus 3 is the same thing as this. I'm just, should I say, contracting it into a single line. That's why I'm making it into this. That's why it's like that. So basically, what I'm saying is, Python would interpret it as x, then will be equal to now the former x that we have, the x that is currently in the memory. Then you're adding 3, or you're adding the figure after it to it. So if you now go back and run it again, it's going to add another 3 to the existing value there. Does it make any sense now?
Yeah. Yes.
Please don't be shy. You can go as far as asking me to go over it 3, 4 times. I don't mind. The whole purpose is you should get it, please. So let's go back to our notebook. So if I do this now, if I do x minus, sorry, what do you think this means? Can somebody explain what this means? What this will do? It's basically going to be the opposite of
It's taking the value of
x
x and it is subtract
equals to
x from
x
it again.
minus 3. So basically, that's what it's going to do. Please ask your questions now if you have any question. So another thing is this one. What does this mean?
That that means all we then just change it to multiplication. That's all.
I should what?
It means you see the value of x, then multiply it by 3.
Exactly. Then assign it back to x. So if you try to get it's now 36, which is 12 times 3. So if we go further, we use this. So we can say x, sorry. If you try to get the value of x now, 0.0. So it's just going to divide it by 3. You're going to divide the current x by 3 and assign it back to x. Do you get it? Please try to get it now, because by the time we come up with what should I call it? Is it code challenge now? You might not have the opportunity to ask questions by then. So another one is this. So if we do this, what do you think would be the answer?
If you the value of x, modulate, then
Zero. I don't know, but
It's going to be
yeah,
zero
that's it.
because the remainder is zero. Also, we have this. Now let's do another x. X equals to 20. Because now our x is at zero. So we have to just now we also have this. What do you think it would be the value of our x?
take.
So we have these two. We can say x after cosine. Sorry. So this one is going to be 216 x raised to the power 3. So there are quite a lot of them. Should I continue or we should just I should just let you
Please, I have a question.
please go ahead with your question.
What's the function of that? The double slash, like from that M57, I think double slash equals to three.
So basically what double slash equals to 3 does is it's going to say x equals to x, then do the floor division. Do you remember what floor division is? Or were you in class when I was talking about
No,
floor?
no, no, I think
No.
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear.
Floor division is return only the whole number in front of it. Don't return the remainder. You remember from primary school when we say 7 divided by 3 would say 2 remainder 1. So it's going to return only the 2 and ignore the remainder 1.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So is there any question so far?
Yes, sir. Yes, there's a question.
Okay,
I
please
have
go
a
ahead.
question. Please, how did you do it that when you type the code and then just press enter and then it brings the output. Then you now press enter again and then it just moves to the line, the second line.
Okay, when you use your shift and enter, it's going to run the code for you. It's not enter
Oh,
alone.
oh,
Shift
okay,
and
okay.
enter. So once you do that, it's
Then
going to create a new cell for you. It's,
okay, so shift and enter will run the code while enter will just take you to the second line.
yeah, no. It's just going to like once you run shift and enter, it's going to it's going to like once you run a cell, it's going to create a new one because it's expecting you to write more code. So that one is
Okay.
good Python function. There's something I've been expecting people to ask. Did you notice that when I write H, it's going to give me a list of things that I can click from?
Yeah.
Yeah, we call it IntelliSense. Maybe one of these days I'll show us how to activate it. So once you have it saved or maybe a Python syntax, it's going to auto complete it for you. Now let's talk about logical operator. But then before we go to logical operator, I want us to talk about the identity operator. What do you mean by identity operator? Where we use identity operator to compare the objects. Like what we mean is like we want to check whether they are equal or not. So and they are just two. We can say is and not. So these are the two. Y let me say y equals to 216. So if we say something like this, x is y, do you think it will return error? Y is not defined because I didn't run this cell. Can you see that it's telling me true? X is not y. Telling me false. Now let's play around. If I say y equals to 15 and I now say x equals to x is not y, what do you expect it to return? True or false?
True.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. So those are the two identity operators. Now let's go to membership operators. Hope we are hope we are getting something from the class.
Yes,
Yes.
we are.
Yeah, I'm glad. We have two of them also. We have the in and not in. So basically, what we are trying to do here is we want to check if it actually belongs to a particular group, or if you can, like, if it has this membership, like if it's a, take for instance now when you say somebody is a member of a family, so whether the person is from that family or not, so that's what we want to do. Now let me say names equals, like, let me just have a list of my name. If you don't get this part, wait. Okay, no, don't let me just use this. I don't want to take it to where you don't know. So if I say M in names, what do you think is going to bring for me? False. Do you know why it's bringing false?
The K. The K starts with K.
Exactly, because the M that I have in Muiz is capital. So another way to remind you that the cases Python is actually case sensitive. Now it's true. So I can say I, okay, let me say I not in names. What do you think it will bring?
False.
Exactly false, because we actually have I there. Now that's it about membership operator. Let's go to comparison operator. Have we spoken about it? So that's where you have the actual equal sign. What you are trying to do here is you are trying to see if this one is equal to the other one. Now, earlier we assigned my name. Let me say my name equals to name. So we are using double equal sign. So what we want to check here is whether my name is actually the same thing as name. But under my name, I assigned it to Abdul Muiz. But name, I assigned it to Muiz. So now let's see if it's going to what it's going to tell us. Name is not defined. Okay, names, sorry. So you see that it's telling me false. Now let me say my name. This one means not equal. Whenever I use this exclamation mark, it means not equal. Not equal. Please note it down. Named. True. That means my name is not the same thing as name. Now let me say my age equals to 12. My brother's age equals to 13. So I've assigned a variable, I called it my name, and I assigned another one equal to my brother's name. Now, what we want to test now is whether my age, I want to check if I'm older than my brother or my brother is older than me. So equals to my brother's age is greater than my brother's age. So it's going to tell me false. Okay, what about my age less than my brother's age? It's going to tell me true. Then there is also now this one is very like can be tricky. This one means greater than or equal to. So now if I come here and I say my age is greater than or equal to, that is when if it meets any of these conditions, it's going to return true. But it's still actually false because it's neither equal to nor greater than. But if I use less than or equal to, it's going to tell me true. Then there is also the opposite. Okay, they are less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. Do we get it so far? Is there anyone with a question? Okay, I'm glad no question.
No.
I'm glad everyone is understanding. So now, logical operators. Yeah, I'm trying to make Python do some logical, what is it called?
Please, I
Like,
have a question.
please go ahead.
In the last code you did, my age less than or equal to my brother's age. Why did it bring out true?
Because my age is actually less than my brother's age. My age is 12, my brother's age is 13. So if any of the conditions is met, it's going to return true. That's all for you.
Okay.
Yeah, we are going to talk about it further now. Like we want to talk about the and, or, and not.
Okay.
Now, those are the logical operators. And, or, not. Now, when you use and for conditions, that means you are joining two conditions, meaning that the first one must be met, also the second one must be met for it to return true. Take for instance now, if I'm asking you, if I'm giving you two conditions, eh, take for instance now, I tell you that go to the market, that's an instruction. And I'm not telling you that if they have bread, buy bread. Or if they have orange, buy orange. Basically, what I'm trying to say now is sorry, that's no, that's not a very good example. Let me give you another example. The example is if they have bread and is less than 200 naira, buy it. Yeah, that's a very good one. That means if they have bread, it's not enough for you to buy it. It must also be less than 200 naira. Or if I say if they have bread and their bread is 200 naira, buy it. Both conditions must be met for you to buy the bread. If they only have bread, but they don't have bread that is equal to 200 naira, then you cannot buy it. Does anybody understand?
Yes.
Then, or Or is when you have to meet only one of the condition. If they have bread or orange, then buy. Then also not is just like the negative side of this. Like you are more like reversing the result. That is, if it is actually true, then return false. Like if you put not in front. Now let's take some examples. My age greater than my brother's age, or okay, no, let me use and my name equals to name. What do you think this should return? False, because both conditions are wrong. Now let me change this to less than. This part is actually correct now, right? Can you see that it's still returning false? Now let me change this to not equal to. Can you see that it's true now? My age is less than my brother's age. The condition is satisfied to be true. My name also is not equals to names. The condition is also satisfied to be true. So let's talk about or. Now let me change this to or. Now and let me set this is going to return if at least one condition is met. So it's going to return true. Now let me check this to equals. It's going to return true because it actually met one of the conditions. Now let me change this to greater than. Now it's returning false because none of the condition is actually met. Now let's try not. Okay, I don't know why it's returning this error. Supposed to complete it. Okay, okay. Let's just use this example. Not true will return false. Now, not false will return true. So it's just basically going to return the opposite. Are you with me?
Yes, please.
Okay. Now I'm going to actually leave out the last one, which is the bitwise operator, for a later time because it's quite complex and we really don't need it yet. So I'm going to leave it till we have some basic understanding of what we want to use it for. Then we'll come back to it.
Okay. Okay. Please, when will you share the notebook?
Hopefully tomorrow morning.
Okay, thank you.
Oh. So is there any questions so far before we go to something else?
No.
Now let's go to Python strings. Does it look like we covered so much tonight that you feel like it might be too overwhelming to revise before tomorrow? Okay, I think the answer is no, since I'll take silence for a no. So let's just continue. Python strings. So basically, when you want to write strings in Python, you have to surround it with either a single quotation like this or a double quotation like this. So when you want to assign string to a variable, so you say, like, just like the way I wrote my name equals to, so that's a way of writing it. Now, and you can also write it this way, equals to, then use this. Now, this is pay attention to this. Sometimes I write my name this way. If I run this now, let's see what it's going to tell us. It's telling us syntax error. That's because you can tell me why.
I think that's because you put the string between the name. Is that it? I'm not sure, but just
Like what I'm saying is, at times this is how I spell my name. Like I,
okay, yeah.
yeah. Sometimes it's actually a double I, so I'll omit one of the I's and I just put it as like an
Yeah,
apostrophe.
but what I mean is Python doesn't understand that because I just put Abdul and then the code and then how is it Z?
But
Well,
then that's
maybe I'm not right.
Python needs to understand that that's the way I write my name, and Python needs to understand it. So how can I? Okay, let me ask. How can I make Python understand that that's how I write my name?
I don't know. Maybe you should just put another code at the end, but I think that is not gonna make sense. But I don't know.
You just have to make Python to understand. That's the way. You have to understand how Python understands your name. That's just as simple as it. Like we get that.
So what can I do for Python to understand? So basically, what I can do is, okay, if I
You
do,
can actually put
You
Yeah.
can actually put forward slash. Okay.
Okay, I can put forward slash.
Yes, in between the first what's it called? Yeah,
This
and
one.
as well you will have the quotes at the end of the sentence too,
Wow.
like at the end of the
Wow, it worked. So that's a way of writing it. Then there's also another way of writing it. I can say my name also. Since I know that I'm going to be using a single, like an apostrophe, so I start with double quotation. So I'll just write it this way. So this is also correct. So basically, here what Python is seeing is Python is reading this Abdulmu like as reading the apostrophe as end of the string. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. So it's not considering like what are you writing as IZZ. So Python did not understand that one. So that's why it's returning an error. So these are the two ways of making sure that Python does not return an error. Is either you put an escape character, we call that forward slash escape character. So it's really going to omit what is after it. Do you get what I'm trying to say? It's going to omit what is after it and go to the character that is next. Or you put a double quote. So can anyone hear me now?
yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah, that's fine. So if you want to have a multi-line string, if you want to have a multi-line string, this is how you run it. So anything you put in between this, my system is low. So anything you put in between this works perfectly. So I'm trying to copy something that I can paste. Yes. So it's not returning error from me. So you can decide to write your story there. So I think we should stop here for tonight and use the remaining time we have for question and recap. Or what do you think?
Yeah, I think that it depends. Maybe we have covered today's syllables, or it depends on your core because they didn't know how the syllable works. But I'm just, I
Eh,
think we should follow the syllable. If I think I've done with today course, so we can just move on to question and answer.
Personally, for me, it's not about covering the syllabus. It's about even understanding the part of the syllabus we are covering. If everyone is okay with this, I'm more than happy to shoot forward. But if there is anything like question, answer, then
Okay.
yes. Or anything you want me to explain, it's not about just covering syllabus.
Please can you re-explain from cell 88?
Okay. For this cell 88 now, basically what we are trying to do is this forward slash now is more like an escape character. We call it escape character in Python. What it's going to do is it's going to tell Python to ignore the character coming immediately after it, which is the apostrophe. So basically, what Python would see is this. This is what Python would say. Python will not see this escape character and also see this apostrophe again. I don't know if you get it. It's more like you just using it to cover it such that nobody would know it is there. Nobody's gonna know. Do you understand now?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and also this cell 89 now. I said you can put the double quotes in front such that when you put your apostrophe inside, Python will not see it as end of character or end of your string. Because what is reading here is that, oh, what you want to write is Abdul Mo. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So those are the two ways. And this is a multi-line character.
Hmm.
A multi-line character where you can write more than one line.
Hmm.
Yes. Is there another question so far?
Sorry, I asked a question that is the class being recorded, please?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you. And can you run the cells? You know where you put my name. Can you just run them and let's see what it brings?
This one?
No, I mean the 88 and 89.
Yeah, I have them.
Is that it? Like, I mean, when you
You want
just
to get to the outro, right?
yeah, yeah. Uh, but why does it bring the quotation mark as well? I
Because
thought
it's
it
a,
should just bring Abdul Muhiz.
yeah, because it's a string. That's why it's telling you that it's a string. It's just Python's way of telling you even without checking the type. That is
Uh, okay, because like what I thought is like if you put the thing in a string, then when you try to run it, then it's just gonna bring what you put like yeah, what you put into it, not with the quotation mark. But yeah, yeah, I got that now. So when you put print,
yeah,
then
exactly.
it's gonna bring
This one,
just
yeah, this one is just going to return only the output for you, and it's going to return it with the quotation. But when you just
okay.
call on print, then it's going to print it for you without what is there exactly. But
Oh, that's
I
fine.
prefer this because it's this one gives you an extra information about what's
Yeah,
going on.
because you know what it is, like it's string or stuff. Yeah, I got that.
Yes, I'm right.
Thank you.
Any other thing that you want anybody might want to ask? Any other question? Okay, I think I'm going to have question for us.
So can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, so like the cell 90, that is gonna be like when you write print my story, then it's gonna bring what you wrote in there that I want to write instructions that like that,
I think yes.
right?
Can you come again?
I mean like when you type print my story, then it's gonna bring what you wrote there. What I want to write instructions, that is what's gonna print, right? Like you said, this is for double something.
Yeah, when you know at times when you want to write a lot, say like I said, my story. So
Yeah.
exactly. So when you want to write and you don't want it to be on a single line, so that's when you use this triple like quotes, like double quotes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you run that as well, please?
Okay.
That's cool. Got that.
You get it now. Now, there's something you'll be needing for your
Yeah,
assignment.
thank you.
The assignment that is going to come for tomorrow. I want to believe that we've all attempted the assignment.
What assignment?
The quizzes that we shared.
That one, is the same thing? Is it quiz the same as assignment?
Yeah, no, that's what I meant actually. Sorry. The quizzes that we shared.
Yeah, actually, may I
Ah,
have comment on the quiz actually?
Okay, please go ahead.
Please, someone said on the Discord group that it's kind of the question is kind of related to OAU that is working out. So
Have you attempted it yourself?
my comment is the second part of the quiz. Actually, the question are God, they are so bulky that I can't even answer it all. So actually, the first 17 part, I think that was the material that you sent, so the introduction to the Python. But the second part, I think some part of it are kind of bulky. That I was like, so are we to answer this question or you just asking for accent's sake? So, so that's my comment
Yeah,
there.
you have to answer the question. You have to answer the question. Like there are things I mentioned yesterday or things I expect you to deduct from what I mentioned yesterday.
in fact, I felt like I was writing a professional exam. You
Like
should be a
seriously,
lecturer.
I thought
You
it's
should be a
more.
lecturer, you know.
I'm very very sorry. Like, boy, I can't help. This
No,
is
no, the problem is not with the question, though. The problem is not the question. It's the way you set it.
that's what I'm
You
saying.
are
That
so good at setting questions.
I can't help that, but this is what you should expect throughout the program. Like I want you to finish the program and you feel like yes, I've gained a lot. Yeah, so I'm very very sorry. You would see by the time they release the what is it called tomorrow, the exercises on this one tomorrow. I'm not telling you it's going to be somewhat hard, but then it's not going to come easy. I can assure you.
Somebody, someone dropped a comment or probably a question in the chat box. Maybe you should check that.
Well, let me check now. Oh, check the classroom. Check the Google Classroom. You have it there. You have it.
Oh, oh,
Yeah, you
oh,
check the Google
okay.
Classroom. You'll be able to attempt it. It's an hour long question. That's why I gave you 1 hour. Like, oh, 1 hour should be enough.
When I saw one, I was like, what is it going to be there? But when I was doing it, and I actually spent almost that 1 hour, I was like, wow.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's just going to be like that.
Actually, I couldn't finish the question though.
But not finishing it actually would add to your score at the end of the week. At the end of the week, and I need to reiterate it that at the end of every week, you need to maintain a minimum of 80%, like we said at the onset of the program. So you have to come with your best if you still want to be in this program at the end of every week. So I'm sorry.
I, I have a question. Oh,
Please go ahead, sir.
80% in or it's 80%.
Please, I can't hear you clearly. Yeah, Oluwagbemiga, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. I was saying something.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Can I talk now?
Yes,
Okay. I said a minimum of 80% in the generally or minimum of 80% in every quiz and every test we do.
minimum of 80% cumulatively.
Ah, progressively. Okay, okay, that's nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
But please, I want to make another comment too.
Okay.
With the intensity of the first quiz that I did, I think you should kind of to drop it to the standard rate of 70%, because normal standard rate of like we all know is 70. I think 70 75. So maybe you could, yeah, you can just help us to drop it back, because with the interest of the question, like the first question introductory quiz that we did, it's kind of I've been thinking again.
I'm,
At
I'm,
a
I'm
serious note.
I'm very, very sorry. We intend to train people who are above the normal standard. We are intend to train people and leave them like extraordinary when they are done. So I'm sorry that would not be accepted.
Okay, oh, we're going to start our
What you have
bet.
to do is panel yourself to meet our standard. To not beat down our standard so that we can. We are more than happy to graduate only one person. We are more than happy.
Wow.
We are more than happy not to graduate anyone.
Don't let it that side down.
Yeah, at least to know that yes, nobody is carrying our certificates without actually knowing what it is all about. That's why we
Ah,
said it
if
right
I
from
see.
the center that it's going to somebody asked me a question that why did we make it free? But I told the person that it's not actually free. It has a currency that you are going to pay with, which is your mental health. So it's going to kind of stress you. But trust me, at the end of the day, you'd really, really, really know that oh, you've achieved something.
Okay, sir.
And that's why I'm giving everyone the opportunity to ask every question. Like I don't think there's a question or anybody that say I should go over that I
That's
said that
very impressive.
yeah, I don't mind going over the
But
whole
if you can go over it, oh, I'll be very happy. I think come on time, sir.
if I can go over it. You can stay back at the end. So I'll
Hello,
just go
sir.
over it with you.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't mind. So any other question? So nobody is asking me question.
No, I was asking a question. I was saying that I'm very happy that I took this course.
What did you say?
You know,
Like I'm
He
listening.
said he's happy to be here.
We are happy to have you here too. Honestly, we are happy to have you here too. So if there is no other question, I can stop recording.